The wrestling world woke up to a nightmare today. Phones started buzzing. Group chats went silent. News outlets scrambled. And for once, the headlines weren't about a shocking title change or a controversial storyline, they were about real-life heartbreak. Triple H appeared live on WWE's official social media channels early this morning, his voice low, his eyes visibly red. He took a deep breath, looked straight into the camera, and said words nobody ever thought they'd hear. "It is with the heaviest of hearts that I share. Paul Heyman has tragically passed away following a ghastly car accident late last night." Silence. Not the usual stunned gasp you get when a big announcement drops. This was the kind of silence where you can feel the air leave the room. Triple H's hands gripped the podium tighter. Paul wasn't just an advocate. He wasn't just a manager, a promoter, or a visionary. He was family. And we have lost one of the greatest minds this industry has ever known. According to early reports, the accident occurred just outside Philadelphia. Heyman had been returning from a late-night creative meeting for WWE SmackDown. The details are gut-wrenching. Police say a truck lost control on the wet highway and slammed directly into Heyman's vehicle. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, but his injuries were too severe. Fans were quick to point out the chilling timing. Heyman had been on SmackDown just last week, delivering one of his trademark promos, full of passion, wit, and that unmistakable Paul Heyman fire. Nobody could have guessed that would be his final appearance. Backstage, sources describe an atmosphere of absolute devastation. Roman Reigns, who has worked hand in hand with Heyman for years, reportedly locked himself in his locker room for over an hour after hearing the news. Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso were seen consoling each other, both visibly shaken. One WWE staff member told WrestlingNewsCC, "We've lost legends before, but this is different." Paul was still so active, so involved. He wasn't just part of the show, he was the show. The magnitude of the loss hit even harder when a video began circulating online, security footage from the arena parking lot just 2 nights ago. In it, you see Heyman leaving the building, waving to a small group of fans, smiling despite the pouring rain. That image is already being shared everywhere, captioned with words like, "Thank you, Paul," and "Rest in peace, wise man." Tributes started flooding in within minutes of Triple H's announcement. Brock Lesnar issued a rare statement, saying, "Without Paul, there is no Brock Lesnar. He was my advocate, my strategist, my friend. I am broken." Even CM Punk, who famously had a complicated relationship with Heyman over the years, posted a black and white photo of the two together with the caption, "We fought, we laughed, we changed wrestling. I'll see you again, brother." The mood backstage at WWE headquarters this morning was unlike anything anyone had ever felt before. Wrestlers, producers, and staff members who are usually full of energy and banter were instead huddled together in quiet corners, comforting each other in disbelief. Roman Reigns, the man Heyman famously dubbed the Tribal Chief, was reportedly one of the last to arrive at the building after the news broke. Sources say he walked in wearing his hoodie pulled low, face pale, eyes glassy. He didn't stop to talk to anyone. He went straight to his private locker room and shut the door. For nearly an hour, nobody saw him. Then, finally, Roman emerged, holding a single folded piece of paper. He walked past the cameras, past the press, and handed the paper to Triple H without saying a word. Hunter opened it, read it, and nodded. Later, it was revealed that the paper was a handwritten tribute Roman had prepared for SmackDown, a personal farewell to the man he called his wise man. Roman would later post a short message on social media. "He wasn't just my counsel in the ring. He was my counsel in life. I've lost more than a manager, I've lost family." Solo Sikoa, usually the silent enforcer, broke his stoic demeanor completely. Witnesses say he had to step away from the press area because he couldn't stop crying. Jimmy Uso reportedly put his arm around him, whispering, "He wouldn't want us to fall apart. He'd want us to finish the story." But perhaps the most haunting detail to come out of the day was the revelation of Paul Heyman's last private conversation with Triple H before the accident. Triple H, still visibly shaken, recounted it in a closed meeting with staff. "Paul had stayed behind after everyone else left the creative room. He looked at me and said, 'Hunter, no matter what happens to me, promise me you'll protect this business. Keep it pure. Keep it unpredictable.'" Hunter admitted that at the time, he didn't think much of it. Heyman was known for speaking in dramatic, almost prophetic tones. But now, those words felt like a final request. When asked why Heyman stayed so late that night, one staff member said he had been reworking a storyline involving the bloodline. "He wanted to make sure it was perfect for Roman," they explained. "He was always like that, obsessed with the details, even if it meant losing sleep." As more wrestlers learned of the tragedy, the WWE Performance Center held an impromptu tribute session. Young talents were encouraged to share what Heyman had meant to them. Some spoke of his sharp advice, others of the way he could tear down your confidence in one breath and rebuild it stronger in the next. One trainee summed it up perfectly. Paul didn't just make stars. He made people believe in themselves when nobody else did. According to the official police report obtained by WrestlingNewsCC, the chain of events leading to Paul Heyman's untimely passing began at approximately 11:42 p.m. last night. Heyman had left the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia following a private post-production meeting for SmackDown. He was reportedly alone, driving his black Mercedes SUV. The weather was rough, light rain turning into a heavy downpour as the night deepened. Visibility was poor, and traffic was minimal. Just 20 minutes into his drive toward his New York home, disaster struck. Witnesses say a large semi-truck, traveling in the opposite direction, lost control after hitting a massive puddle on a bend. The truck swerved violently into Heyman's lane, giving him less than 2 seconds to react. The impact was brutal, direct, and catastrophic. A driver who had been following 2 cars behind Heyman told local news outlets. It happened so fast. I saw the truck fishtail, and then, it was just a wall of metal and glass. I pulled over and ran to help, but there was nothing I could do. I recognized him immediately. It was Paul Heyman. And I just froze. Emergency services arrived within 6 minutes, but the severity of the collision meant Heyman had suffered fatal injuries before they could get him out of the wreckage. The truck driver, according to police, sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries and is currently in stable condition at a nearby hospital. Toxicology reports are pending, though initial findings suggest weather and hydroplaning were the primary causes. Here's where it gets even more heartbreaking. Several WWE superstars were in the middle of overnight flights when the news broke. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and other members of the bloodline were on a chartered plane headed to a live event. They had no cell service midair, completely unaware of what had just happened. By the time they landed, their phones lit up with dozens of missed calls and hundreds of unread messages. Multiple passengers on the flight say Roman didn't even check his luggage. He sat down in the corner of the terminal with his head in his hands, reading the official WWE group chat message over and over again. One crew member recalled, the first thing he did was call Paul's phone. It went straight to voicemail. He just stared at the floor for a long time after that. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar, who was on his ranch in Saskatchewan, reportedly found out through a phone call from Paul Heyman's own daughter. Sources close to Brock say he went completely silent for several minutes before telling her, "I'll be there." Brock is now expected to attend any memorial service WWE organizes, despite his ongoing absence from television. As word spread, airports, hotels, and even arenas started seeing makeshift tributes appear. Photos of Heyman printed out and taped to walls, flowers left by fans, and handwritten notes thanking him for his decades of contribution to wrestling. By Thursday morning, WWE was in mourning. Triple H called an emergency locker room meeting at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. The atmosphere was heavy. The usually loud and energetic room was now somber, filled with whispers, muffled sobs, and the occasional clearing of a throat trying to hold back tears. Triple H addressed the room with the kind of gravity only someone who has seen the insides of this business could command. "We've lost a legend. We've lost a friend. Paul Heyman gave everything to this company. He gave everything to all of us. I want every one of you to remember that today, and carry his legacy forward in every match, every promo, and every decision you make in this business." Roman Reigns reportedly stood at the front, his jaw clenched and eyes red. He spoke next, though his voice was heavy with grief. "Paul wasn't just my advocate. He was my voice, my strategy, my family. Without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. We owe him more than words can say. We owe him action." The WWE locker room broke down. Some wrestlers, like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, were openly crying. Others were silent, head bowed, lost in memories of Heyman's mentorship and guidance over the years. Then, Triple H shared the tentative plans WWE had begun to organize, a special tribute episode of SmackDown dedicated entirely to Paul Heyman. The show would feature video highlights of his career, interviews with superstars he helped shape, and a moment of silence for fans worldwide to honor him. The news spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with the hashtag Remember Paul Heyman, trending worldwide within hours. Fans shared their favorite Heyman moments. His fiery promos, his cunning strategies, his loyal advocacy for his clients, and even the way he could make a villain look like a hero with just a few words. But then came the shocker. Late Thursday morning, Triple H received a phone call from a familiar voice, someone many thought would never collaborate with WWE again, CM Punk. "I don't care what it costs, or what I have to do, I want to be part of the tribute," Punk reportedly said. "Paul and I had our battles, but he was always honest. I owe him my respect, and I want to honor him live." Triple H paused, visibly emotional, before agreeing. WWE staff later confirmed Punk's appearance would be the first public in-ring appearance he'd make in over 3 years, specifically to pay tribute to Heyman. Fans immediately began speculating what this would look like. Would Punk cut a promo? Would he share backstage stories? Or would he just silently salute Heyman? Whatever happens, the WWE Universe knew this would be an iconic, once-in-a-lifetime moment, one that would cement Paul Heyman's legacy forever. Meanwhile, other superstars were preparing their own tributes. Brock Lesnar, who is rarely seen at live events outside of wrestling, reportedly made arrangements to appear at the tribute show despite personal schedules. Even younger talents, like Austin Theory and Braun Breaker, were instructed to share personal anecdotes about Heyman, some of which had never been made public before. The sense of unity, grief, and respect backstage was unlike anything WWE had ever seen. Paul Heyman's impact was undeniable. He didn't just influence wrestlers, he molded careers, shaped storylines, and left an indelible mark on the entire industry.